Where the hell did I go wrong?
He's back. He's bad. And if you're going to beat it, you've got to work on that endgame king moonwalk. Danya Naroditsky, the one and only, playing with the black pieces in this titled Tuesday game, played in late April, the late tournament, and his opponent is the one and only Niemann, a man who's got the power and a man who's turned into Magnus at times when it comes to the endgame prowess. This is exceptional, so is the tournament result. Let's dive right in here. Online chess at its finest. So Hans kicks off with the king pawn. We get the aggressive Sicilian. The knight develops, and now start your engines, because this is the hyper accelerated dragon. So aggressive. Hans Niemann takes the center. Many ways to recapture, but he goes with the queen here. Looks a bit amateurish. Yes, you hit a rook, but it isn't blundered. And now, when the fourth horseman of the apocalypse gallops into the game, it looks like you're really losing time, but watch this. Hans goes for the switcheroo, and now after d6, this knight's still here, poised to support pawn e5, which is played. Plus there's a pin. We're in cutting edge grandmama theory. Takes is played, knight recaptures, and everyone in his chess dog is playing bishop d7, right? Break the pin, that's what us mere mortals do. But we see bishop g7, allowing the smash and grab, but it wasn't gone for. This is how the line goes, and what to say, basically black's got a big lead in development, open lines, bishop pair, blah blah blah. Don't try this at home for the pawn down. Instead, Hans just goes for the triple stack on this guy. Now we get castles once more, again giving the pawn, but okay, you've lost a bit of time. This is what black is playing for. Don't blunder the rook, but rook b8 not the move. Bishop d7, go for the crisscross pins. You take my rook, I take your queen. So we see castles played. Now rook c8 to pile on the pressure here, and so a captures is played. Queen takes back, it opens the tension, and this is the moment. You could play queen a3, queen b3, but no siree. Hans Niemann wants to become the modern day endgame goat, says take my lady off the board, I want to grind you like a grandma deep into that endgame. He really loves one these days, I've noticed it in his play. After the knight takes back, very stinky over here, this one now drops, and arguably it's a bit risky for white. You know, where's this guy headed? It's going to get chopped in a minute. Now don't take the pawn, by the way. Tactical oversight, boom shakalaka, there goes one of your minor pieces. So coming back here, we see rook fc1 to challenge the file. You could definitely double stack, but you just get an exchange, and then this guy comes to the d file, just a different game. So instead we get takes, rook takes back, and this knight centralizes, an octopus. Kasparov loves it. Again, not advisable to take the pawn. The tactical issues actually leads to an equality because there's some tactic stuff. So instead we get bishop d2. And now how about this? It's Pope D the Fourth. What an absolute promotion that bishop's had. Very powerful. The knight's completely chopped here, and after king f1, running into the center, breaking this nasty eyeballing gaze, we now see the final black piece enter the game here, taking the second open file. You know, the players are fighting for them. These are only half open files because the pawns stand there. Now we get pawn b3, no longer attacked. The knight can activate. King g7 played, king e2, and now Danya whispers, do you even rook lift, bro, as that one hits the 6th rank. Pawn f3 takes care of that one. Now e5, and it's Cementos, that monster sniper in the center of the board. A seahorse is spawned, could be rotating to e4, and so f5 takes that space, erects the big black center, and now look at the time, by the way. Hans is just creeping ahead, trying to time Danya out here, and before he can make too much progress there, Hans gets his own ones rolling. He's got the 2-on-1 pawn majority there, trying to make a passer. King f7 is played, a4 charged, rook c6, and it keeps white honest with pawn b5, or you drop the horsey. So a5 is played instead, and now this is the moment where Danya decides to shatter that structure. A rude awakening for those pawns that wanted to stay connected, rumbled together. Now it's a bit of a structure that only a mother could love. And after king e6, this king finally marching all the way towards its pawn here. a6, interesting move, weakens b6 but does blunt this bishop. King c4 played, knight c7 from Danya. Not such a bad move. The all-powerful engine gives it the question, but let's ignore that. Hans Niemann plays rook e1 and things get spicy, a bit tactical. He's going for this pawn weakness, which is pinned to the king. Now we see knight b5, and here comes the tactical stuff. Bishop f4 using the pins, but great fight back from Naroditsky, low on time. He checks using a counter pin, the king goes, and now he rotates to f7, just covering in time, or is it? Because Hans Niemann now sits back, channels his inner Bruce Lee, and karate chops that pawn off the board. The idea is, if knight takes, you run into pawn f4, winning back the piece and then some. It's a lost endgame. So we didn't see knight takes. The excellent move by Danya, only move to stay in the game actually. He plays king d5. Well done if you spotted that, and there's a double threat. Win the bishop, and now you're unpinned, so there's no longer threats of pinning back and winning the piece. So it does have to give ground, and then you win back your pawn. And sure, you can check, but the king hides out on c6. So instead we see rook e7, excellent invasion. You know, it shows the level that Hans is at, and these super GM guys, you know, we'd just start checking because we don't know what to do, low on time. But no, they're seeing plans, they're seeing weak spots. Knight g5, sorry, check first. Apparently king c3 best, but the king stays with the pawn, way more natural. Now knight g5, gets out the attack, defends the pawn, and this is some serious insight. I don't know how much the guys are seeing, but h4 just rolls off the wrist, right? Attack the piece which is defending the pawn. But actually, knight e6, let's say you gobble the pawn, then you can actually bring in the king, and you're starting to box this guy in a mating net. You know, really nasty. Say you push h5, what else to do in low on seconds? Just run a pawn or something. Then this, then this, then this, and now you're attacking a bishop and threatening mate. Let's save the bishop, you get checkmated. Just a sample line, but it's how things can go wrong quickly. So we didn't see h4. We saw rook e5 check. The king goes, now these ones exchange, looks a bit dangerous to give the passed pawn to black. I mean, yes, white's got one, but this one's running fast with the king a bit more advanced. King a3, b4 check, and now it looks natural to me, you know, instinctively, and this is where I'm probably too defensive. I think I'd be playing king b2. Engine says it's a draw, but Hans plays king a4. Really nice aggressive intent, saying fine, run your b pawn, which is played in the game, but actually knight e6 is the best move here, with the idea being that say you keep pushing, we can rotate round, sack the knight for the pawn, this should be leading to a draw. This sort of thing, that was the way to go. But instead, we get pawn b3, and now it's not about running this pawn and starting a race, which you're going to come out the wrong side of, but this one, king a3. Excellent move, because if now king c3, bishop e5 check, king c2 looks deadly, well, bishop's covering okay. Whoops. You can actually start running this guy. The knight just gets round, the bishop's overloaded, but white can just chill. Bring in the king, say fine, anytime you push I'm taking. Meanwhile, my king's coming in, your knight can't defend it all. It's an a-pawn, it's nasty. So we didn't see, what was I showing there, the king c3 move. We saw instead king b5, but now bishop e1. And this is really the power of the bishop in an endgame with pawns on both sides. Having said that, knights are tricky as hell in a low time scramble, but this is beautiful by Niemann. King takes on b3, the knight hits f4, g3 defends, and white's a clean pawn up here, an outside passer. Danya's getting trousered. Danya, in fact, told me about that term. It's a Russian term, apparently. Don't know what the translation is, but when you've got two pawns, let's say, running on both sides, the pieces of black or white, whoever it might be, the defending side, they can't keep up with both sides of the board. This is stunning technique. Building time on the clock, rotating around with the bishop, the knight attacks, and now Here Hans says fine, take it. I never actually clicked into this line, but presumably, yeah, it's just straight lost. The king's way too fast. We won't keep going too much from here. You know, this is a lost endgame. So we didn't see takes, we saw this move. Now the king comes in. I mean, exceptional understanding and recognition by both players, low on time, the pawn saved, but Hans just a bit ahead in this race. It is the wrong colour pawn here for the bishop ever supporting if you got into that endgame, but that's not the main problem. It's this second pawn. This is where Danya's getting really trousered. They're both running, absolutely beautiful. There goes the f-pawn, but still has to be finished off. How do you win a one game? One of the hardest things in chess at times. Here comes the bishop rotating around again, but that super tricky knight still jumping, hits another check, now comes over here, miles from the king, make the queen, I dare ya. And this is what I'm saying, by the way, this is a draw because this king and the bishop, they don't work well together if you're going for the win. The king hits the corner, and because it's the wrong bishop, you can never flush out that king. It's a dead draw. So that's why you can't promote. So instead, the bishop spins round, and that's just an awesome move. Look at the knight suddenly. Doesn't have a square, does not have a hop, and the black king so far away really took care of the other trouser leg that now bang, you had nothing but to give the knight. You know, you were going to lose it regardless. This is how the game proceeded. Here we saw resignation, pawns going through, you make the second bishop and you do the fancy checkmate. Actually, no, that would be a loss because it'd be the same square, wouldn't it? So probably making the queen is best, or a knight if you want to be super technical, if you can do that one. Great game. Hope you enjoyed. Hans won the whole tournament. And have a look at the video on screen if you want to see a video I did about a year ago, which is just nuts. The calculations out of this world. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers.